Zed Seselja, the general rule of thumb in politics is that voters do differentiate between state and federal. Is the debate, though, say around superannuation right now, something that could spill over into a state campaign?
I think it certainly has the potential to, if handled badly by the government. And I think there's a couple of big vulnerabilities for Labor on super which could play out in the New South Wales election. One is the broken promise, because Anthony Albanese made a lot over integrity, about putting all of the policies on the table, and it's clear that this policy wasn't put on the table. Secondly, I think it's that attack on aspiration. And I think if you know Sydney and the outer burbs of Sydney, Western Sydney in particular, there is a lot of aspirational Australians, and even if they don't quite fit within that $2 or $3 million in their super, they would be nervous about these kind of changes. So that's where I think the vulnerability is for Labor. Will it play out in the New South Wales election? I think at the margins, of course it may, because if you're an undecided voter, you're not sure which way to go. Well, if you're hearing a lot about Labor's plans to tax your retirement income more, you might just be a little less likely to put a 1 in the Labor box.
Darren, what's your assessment of where the superannuation kite has been flown?
Look, the numbers of people involved across the country, if we're talking about a 3 million cap, I think is around 36,000 people, and it's about 80,000 people at 2 million. But what Zed says is true. It's about what you said you would do and what tweaks you might make when you're in government, and the signals that sends. The 2019 example around franking credits tells us about the aspirational vote, that it's alive and well. So I think if the heat gets too much, you probably won't see Labor pursue the policy. If they think it's going to hurt them too deeply, it is a kite flying exercise and they'll move on to something else.
Yep, fair point. Hasn't been confirmed yet. And finally, the cyber security roundtable. Zed Seselja, the government trying to help plug the gaps within both industry and government off the back of the Medibank and Optus breaches.
Yeah, and obviously those breaches, and you know, I'm a customer of some of those companies, as many Australians are. You know, those breaches were concerning, and obviously there needs to be a response. Now, you know, we will get. I think it's pretty understandable, or the usual course of events, that new governments will come in and say, well, nothing's happened here and this is what we're doing. I think it's good that they're taking action. I think there was a lot of action in the last government on cyber. There's no doubt about it. The $1.7 billion cyber strategy, $10 billion for Red Spy. So there was a lot going on, but I would be of the view that a new government coming in should be looking at what needs to be strengthened. They should be looking at if there's legislative changes, further legislative changes that need to be made, they should be considered, because this is an issue that's not going away. It's only going to get more and more challenging over the years to come, and regardless of what's gone on before, it is important that they take pretty active steps right now.
Darren Barnett, only 20 seconds left, but that finishing line always moves when it comes to policy reform, particularly in space like this.
Look, I think broadly you'll see bipartisan support on cyber security. It's a problem that's not going away. It will get worse, not better, and all action is good action to be taken.
Darren Barnett, Zed Seselja, great to see you both. Catch you next week.